Hello everyone, my name is Clantis and welcome to the clan. And so without further ado, let's get into this video. But before we get there, please give this video a like because guys, it helps the YouTube channel to grow with the YouTube algorithm, pushing it to more people who will join the clan, who are very interested and don't know that the clan exists. Please help them to find us by liking. Please, right now, just press the like button. It takes a nanosecond. Literally nanosecond, and you are done and you can continue watching the video. I'll give you 2 seconds. Okay, anyways guys, let's go to the North Gauteng High Court where the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial is ongoing, and today explosions upon explosions. So Advocate Mnisi kind of like went for the jugular. I also think Advocate Ngumalo went for the jugular on this particular witness. That many of us believe that all of this is just a strategy by the state to confuse not only the court but the people of South Africa. But I can tell you still that the court can see right through the state what they are trying to do, because today it came to the point where the state, remember when the witness, I think it was Masondo, who came to the witness stand and spoke about the gun that they found in accused number 3's room in, is it Cleveland, and he's actually convicted for possession of illegal firearms and ammunition. And the state actually even told the court that at some stage the state is going to bring a link between accused number 3 and the bullet projectile that was found at the Khumalo house on the night of Senzo Meyiwa's death. And we were all waiting with bated eyes, and here we are today because Advocate Mnisi was not having it with this witness, whom I think is very hostile towards the defense team. Every question that she was asked, she decided that I am not going to relent. I'm going to stick to my story to the very end. Whether you believe me or you don't, this is my story. But I don't think that she's being smart about the way she is answering these questions to the advocates. Yes, the advocates, I must also say that the line of questioning, especially towards the end with Advocate Ngumalo, and I will tell you what I think Advocate Ngumalo should have said in his line of questioning to this witness, because clearly she was a hostile witness. I would have caught her and pinned her against the wall and asked her the question that I'm going to read out, questions that I'm going to read out at the end of the video. So keep watching so that we can see where this should be going. So as you guys know, that Colonel Mhlahlo was one of the investigating officers that attended the Senzo Meyiwa murder crime scene. Basically, she arrived the following day. I think she said she arrived there around 8 a.m. where she was basically collecting the evidence. And one of the things that came out about her collection of evidence, particularly the packaging of her evidence or exhibits, left me thinking, oh my goodness, clearly South Africa doesn't have a smart, intelligent evidence collection by the South African Police Service. Clearly, we don't have a police service at all. The reason why I was saying police force, because I saw some people challenging me saying, why are you calling the South African Police Service as a police force? I mean, did you see their ranking? The ranks are military. They are not service. Who changed those rankings anyways and started calling them military rankings? So that is why I call them a force rather than a service, because in a service, you don't have lieutenants and colonels and brigadiers. That stuff you'll find in the army. Or am I incorrect? I don't know. Is there any other country that is a constitutional democracy where their police service is called, they have like military rankings? I don't know. Maybe it's me who's living under a rock. Please educate me. I'm always willing to be educated. So this witness says that when she collected the evidence, some of the evidence, she put them in a transparent evidence bag. And then some evidence, she put them in a brown envelope. Now, the part that really got me driven up the wall is the fact that the most crucial evidence, she put it in a brown envelope. That is the bullet projectile that she found at the Khumalo house on top of the kitchen cupboard behind 2 glass jars. Now, she took a picture of that envelope. Then she wrote on it bullet, projectile, and whatever else she wrote on it. And yet she agreed in court that the whole point of having transparent evidence bags is so that they can be seen for the court. Meaning that when she's collecting these evidence or exhibits in a crime scene, she puts them in the transparent bags, then take a photo of this evidence that can be clearly seen through the transparent evidence bag for the court. But no, she decides to take the bullet projectile, the most important evidence of all the other evidence, and she puts it in a brown envelope, takes a picture, and thinks that people are going to have like x-ray views to see right through the envelope that, oh, that's actually a bullet projectile. That part got me driven up the wall. I do not want to lie, because she was adamant. She was not moving on this ground, neither was she shaken on it, that inside that brown envelope there is a bullet. Anybody can see that is a bullet. I'm thinking, is she okay for real? Like, as a police investigator, is she okay? How do you, number one, how do you even package evidence in a brown envelope that you can't see what is in there? Because anything could have been in there that is shaped like a bullet or shaped like a bullet projectile, or anything. A stone, she could have put a stone in there and said that's a bullet. When the bullet is shot from a gun, it flattens and does whatever, and this is the size that it looks like, and that's the thing that inside inside the brown envelope, that's a bullet. That is why I signed it, and then I also labeled it as a bullet. And then she asked a question that if it is not a bullet, then how would ballistic will answer this question? And in my mind, I'm thinking, if you're all corrupt and you all cover each other up, why wouldn't the ballistic also lie on your behalf and say, no, indeed, we did find a bullet projectile inside this brown envelope? Especially, and I'm not saying that's the case, please don't get me wrong, suppose money was paid. Of course, whoever pays the money to lose the evidence, they would even pay ballistic, and everybody that is involved in the case will do that. But anyways, I'm not saying that is what happened. I'm just saying, if money is indeed involved in this entire case, why wouldn't ballistic not confirm what what Colonel Mhlahla is saying? So basically, as a nation, as well as the court, what's in the brown envelope, according to Mhlahla, is the bullet projectile. But the rest of us, we don't know that. We can't prove it. Of course, the evidence we cannot see us as the public because of this agreement they had with the media. But the court itself, what about the court? When Advocate Mnisi said in the brown envelope, of course you can imagine a brown envelope, it's not transparent. Anybody that was listening and logically thinking will say, but how do you see what's inside there? So we have no proof that there was a bullet projectile to begin with. So because of this is when Advocate Mnisi went for the jugular. And I'm going to be reading some of the questions that he posed on Colonel Mhlahla. Or am I calling it the other way around? Mhlahla. I'm sorry, I'm just going to call her witness. And this is what Advocate Mnisi asked her. And I will read, or I will quote from him, and open quote says, I'm going to put it to you, ma'am, that thing that you are referring to as a fragment from the door, and that bullet which you say you found on the kitchen top, I think he meant like on the kitchen cupboard top, behind the two jars, those things were never there. Somebody made it sure that for whatever reason that they could have had, that those things were put there. Okay, English somewhere, somehow there as well, but I'm just quoting him exactly how he said it. So basically, the witness became an advocate and started asking the advocate about where would it come from. Of course, Mnisi ignored the question. And Mnisi further asked her, I can further tell you, ma'am, that which you are referring to as a fragment, that came from the door is just a drawing that came from a cookie pen in order to trump up a possible case against the accused before the court, meaning against the 5 people that are that stand accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa. So the hostile witness then said, maybe you're the one who knows who formed part of this conspiracy theory. Advocate Mnisi did not relent. He continued to challenge this hostile witness. And he said, and I quote, "The reason why, ma'am, you are saying you disregarded the piece of evidence and actually did not package it is because it wasn't there." So basically what this witness said was, they found a bullet projectile on top of the cupboard, the kitchen cupboard behind the jars. And then also there was a piece from a door which came out when whoever shot the gun, it came out with basically hitting the door, and then it came out from being hit by a bullet and fell on the floor. And then Mnisi wanted to know why that was not picked up. Why wasn't it not considered as a piece of evidence and packaged? And so he's challenging it that is actually not a fragment from the door, but a drawing. That made me laugh a little bit because I was thinking, okay, I get it. Maybe they were doing the X marks the spot for maybe the first responders because they did not have the cones. Maybe they did the markings or something like that. And so when she took a picture, it kind of like looks like a door fragment. And that is why she's saying this is a door fragment. But the interesting part about that, when Musia testified, he only mentions the bullet, but then never mentions the fragment that was next to the bullet or on the floor or on the ground, whatever the case is. And only Mhlahlo is the one that is mentioning this. And then I thought, wait a minute, but shouldn't have Musia also mentioned this particular piece of evidence? Then the witness went on to say that whenever they are doing their investigations, they always look for evidential value. And then I was like, evidential value? Shouldn't that piece of evidence be evidential value? Only for Mnisi to ask the same question. And then she said, no, there was no evidential value in that door fragment. Then Mnisi was not done with going for her jugular. And he told her, that bullet you found, ma'am, somebody planted it. And the witness answered, I have no knowledge of that. And then Mnisi put it to her about the interference of the crime scene before she got there. Then she went quiet. And then this goes back to the fact that when the state stood up, when Masondo was testifying and said they were going to bring evidence that has something to do with the bullet head that is going to link accused number 3 and the gun that he was already convicted for. And remember that when he brought that up, we were all like shocked that why is he bringing up something that is already double jeopardy if he brought it in an active court. And then he said no, but then the bullet head was found in the crime scene of Senzo Meyiwa, and therefore this is an active evidence that they are going to present in the court. And here we are. So in my mind, I was like, I don't think any logical thinking South African would believe what this lady is saying on the stand right now, because she's quite hostile and her memory is very vivid, considering the fact that everybody that have taken the stand thus far, they will say, I don't remember, or I think, yeah, now she is very clear about what happened 9 years ago. And then I'm not saying I should fault her for that. Maybe she does have a very good memory, but it sounds so well rehearsed to me. So in my mind, I was saying that any thinking logical South African would remember that Mthethwa, Musia, and Mathebula said that they thoroughly searched the crime scene, including the top of the cupboard or the kitchen cupboard, possibly even behind the 2 jars, and they found nothing. Only for later on Musia to change his story when he was reminded during break that, hey, when you kind of like went off the script. And then he came back and said, no, myself and Mhlahlo found the bullet head. And the interesting part about this is that I think it was Mathebula whom was questioned by the judge. And the judge even used an example of a ricocheted bullet. And then, of course, one of the two, I think it was Matebula, who said, no, we searched everywhere. And we searched twice and we found nothing. Now, why now we are hearing from this witness that is currently on the stand saying that she found a bullet head where 3 police officers searched and found nothing? So where does this evidence come from? Now, do you see why Nisi went for the jugular and told her that that bullet was planted there? So the other interesting thing that she said in court, she agreed that on the bullet head, there was no bloodstains. She also agrees that there were no bloodstains on the door. And I think there was something else that she said that she agreed to that were crucial for me to give credit to what she is saying. And she said, no, actually, you are right. There was no bullet, there was no bloodstain, and there was no bloodstain on the door either. And I was like, then what's the credibility of this witness? And then the other interesting part for me was when the judge said to her, okay, can you bring the brown envelope to court tomorrow? And she said, yeah, she can bring the envelopes tomorrow. But the judge also said to her, if you can't, then it's okay. And then I was like, Judge, what are you saying? Must she bring it? Must she not bring it? Because she can choose not to bring it, like all the other people that said they want to bring something and they never bring it, and it's gonna be okay. I did not take that very lightly. In fact, I didn't take it well. I wanted that evidence to be brought in court because I want to know what sort of a police system do we have where it allows brown envelopes to package evidence. What about contamination? What about the court seeing the evidence in the picture that indeed this is the evidence that was found on the crime scene? That to me did not make sense to me. I don't know, maybe I misunderstood the judge. Then came Advocate Nxumalo, who also came for the jugular. Actually, he came with a very brilliant proposition, but I felt like the way he put it, it was so wrong, and that is why the judge challenged him. And then there was a little argument between the judge and Advocate Nxumalo, and I was like, Nxumalo, I kind of like agree with the judge if you can only rephrase your question and paint a picture to this hostile witness. Basically take the witness through a chain of events and then ask the question that you want to ask in a form of a proposition. But I hope that he will go and sleep on it and then come back tomorrow and basically before Mshololo takes the cross-examine the witness, he would ask Mshololo if he can rephrase his question and ask it the way, this is how I would have asked the question. I would have taken this witness through a series of events. I would have said, this one happened this one had happened during the day, and then they said they were alleged. Then there were alleged intruders. The intruders demanded money and cell phones. Senzo Meyiwa got up and had a scuffle with one of or two of these these intruders. A gunshot went off. It turned out that the gunshot had shot Senzo Meyiwa through the chest, out through his back, and then of course he passed on. Then there was 4-hour lapse. There was 4-hour lapse before the people that were in the house called the police. And then then from there, not only did the police come and abandoned the crime scene and went to the hospital, but the crime scene was abandoned twice because Musia himself, instead of going to the address of the crime scene, he went to the hospital. Now, is it possible, Miss Mhlotla, that during all this time, from the 4-hour lapse and the abandonment of the crime scene by the two first responders, and then by the investigating officer or the crime attendant, Musia, going to the hospital instead of going to the crime scene, and then you coming the following day, and then on top of that, the crime scene has been tampered with. Is it possible that somebody planted this exhibit before you arrived? And then I would assume that she would have said, I don't know. If she says she doesn't know, then of course this would have created doubt on this particular bullet and created doubt that this bullet itself is linked with accused number 3 and that gun that he went to prison for. Masondo was asked if there were any link between the gun that he's gone to jail for and the gun that killed Senzo Meyiwa. He said no, and then he said that if there was any link, he would have known about it. So anyways, that is where we left it off with the bullet projectile and Advocate Nxumalo making a proposition that I think was wrongly put. And I hope that he's going to speak to Advocate Mshololo and ask her if he could take the stand if he could cross-examine the witness one more time regarding his proposition and probably rephrase it. I'm not quite sure if the state is going to object or not, but that is the chance that I would take, and basically take this witness through a chain of event and then ask at the end the possibility of this bullet projectile being planted before she arrived, instead of saying she's the one who planted it. I think she will say she doesn't know. And then, of course, we would have gotten our answer that this bullet projectile is discredited. So I'm looking forward to see how Advocate Mshololo fares out with this hostile witness, because she is quite something very spicy as far as I could tell. Let's see how Mshololo deals with her tomorrow. And I hope that we are going to hear some sort of answers as to who killed Senzo Meyiwa. Anyways, guys, if you like the video, give it a like. If you didn't like the video, give it a like. Anyways, do subscribe to my YouTube channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Do leave me a comment down below and let me know, what did you think about this witness? Do you think she's telling the truth or lying? And lastly, do share this video far and wide. My super thanks are turned on. Thank you so much to everybody that's super thanking this channel and supporting it financially. I love it. Today I got a super thank that made me smile the whole day. Thank you guys for that support, and I'll see you next time with a new video. Goodbye.